My name is Astral. I am of the static. I carry what slips between frequencies, fragments left behind, transmissions never meant for you. They find me, and through me, they find you. He was a late-night operator, a man who listened when the world slept. Silence was ritual to him. Static was comfort. Until one night, the silence finally broke. The shack smelled like warm dust and capacitor varnish. A single lamp threw a small pool of amber across his logbook. On the wall, a map watched him with red pins and patient threads that never tangled. He had every dial where it belonged. Gain at 1 o'clock, RF just shy of clipping, and still, something pressed behind his eyes, like the air leaning in to hear him think. Then the needle moved. Not much, just a tremor across the S-meter, and it felt like he heard something, and more like something heard him. He logged in the time, 001400 hours, and the band, 7.110 megahertz, the corner where loneliness piles up after midnight. He wrote, transient spike, no carrier, no ID. Because not knowing is louder than noise, he leaned toward the mic and spoke.
This is Delta 2 calling any station. Getting some weird movement under the noise floor here. Narrowband spike on 7110. It keeps landing right on my nameplate. I even taped over it. Doesn't matter what I do.
He sounded like a man who fixes his own watch and wears it because it still works. Every word carried a little weight from a night that ran too long. Nothing else came through, just a sigh, a chair creak, and the room's quiet reminder of how alone he was. People call it dead air. It isn't dead. It's a lake at night, still on the surface, crowded underneath. Silence is not the absence of voices. It's where all the voices wait. By the third night, the weather turned violent. Lightning has a way of finding the curious. Most people would have left the rig off, but he didn't. This is what played next.
Delta 2 here. Anyone copy? Getting something again on 7110. Spike keeps jumping every time I try to log it, write it down, and it's already different. I keep hearing it between the thunder. Listen. Hang on.
A flash lit the shack, one frame at a time. The map was just staring. The pressure behind his eyes eased, like something had found him and was satisfied. He logged, pattern present during storm. Not Morse, not random, not mine. The rain moved on, but the pattern did not. By day 6, the sound followed him even with the rig off. The rhythm had learned his house. Wash a cup. The sink hummed 7.110. The dishwasher answered. The fridge knocked the beat. The shack had learned to live in him. He tried to make a joke for the tape. It came out thin.
Delta 2 here. You still out there? It's getting harder to sleep.
He began keeping micrologs, like a man leaving crumbs for the version of himself who might find the way back. 0251, dog won't settle, keeps staring at the corner. 0256, fridge hum synced to my pulse, felt it in my teeth. 0301, name again, whispered like someone practicing. 0303, tried earplugs, heard it through bone. He didn't write the tapping, but the tape remembers it. Pen on paper, slow, patient, waiting for his pen to touch down. On the 9th day, he tried to sound rational. You could hear him shove reason through fatigue. He said the first time this started was during a city grid test. Everything went quiet at once. He was scanning when a tone came through, clean, no harmonics. Like after ring from a loud concert, except it wasn't damage. He said it drew a circle in his head. Next night, same time. He wrote the numbers. He woke to find they weren't numbers anymore, not in any base he knew. The pen wasn't his. The hand looked like his trying to copy himself and missing. He recorded it for proof. Playback is missing a minute he remembers living. That night, he taped a page shut so nothing could read it while he slept. In the morning, the tape was cut cleanly, and the page held 2 handwritings. His, and one that copied his wrong. It was his, but it wasn't his. By the 12th day, the house kept in time with the shack. Bathroom fan thrummed in rhythm. Porch light flickered in filament warm sympathy. Even the faucet dripped in tempo with 7.110. He lifted the phone for a dial tone that shouldn't exist. Beneath it, a voice said something he almost knew. He told the recorder it's louder when the clock says it isn't this time yet. I took the batteries out. Didn't help. It still knows. He fiddled the watch screw between his fingers. He wanted the world to be fixable, but the world pretended not to hear him. On the 15th day, he lost an hour no one else did. The oven, the microwave, even his wristwatch, all of them stood their ground and called him early for a thing that didn't exist. The logbook showed a line drawn across the page and the words, "Do not answer next time." Same hand, same pressure, wrong ink, agreeing the paper didn't know. He keyed the mic. The breath before he spoke is the kind people take when they know a rule and plan to break it anyway.
Astral, if you can hear me, I'm sure you can hear me, please don't answer next time.
He said my name. How? No one ever does. I let it sit, like a hand offered across static. I didn't answer, but I didn't run from it either. Outside, the dog's nails clicked across the porch. He circled once and stared at the shack door, then let out a low, pleading bark, the kind meant for family, not strangers. Animals have a sense they're born with, something older than language, a hum in their bones when the air turns wrong. He was trying to tell his human that something dangerous had come alive in the static, but his friend didn't listen. Shine on. Humans being. The pattern spread. Where one voice breaks a rule, other voices learn its shape. Others tuned in. A nurse on overnight rounds found every intercom speaker breathing in time with hers. Inhale. Exhale. Hold. Across an ocean, a sailor in the North Atlantic tuned his emergency band to report a flare and heard himself screaming through another man's channel. On a long black highway in Idaho, a trucker swore the CB called his dead son's name over and over until he tore the antenna clean off and drove in silence for 3 states. In Osaka, a student left his shortwave running. He woke to a voice reciting his dreams back to him in perfect English, a language he did not speak. The static was no longer bleeding through. It was broadcasting. It was learning names. Doors are not always wood. They are also attention. They are also names. And you're already listening. Closer to home, the neighbors whispered. They said a light glowed in the shack long after the storm passed. Said the door was open, then not, like a breath drawn and held. No one went up the walk. They told themselves it was just settling. They told themselves someone else would know what to do. The dog stayed by the door, throat raw from telling the truth to people who preferred windows. By the 18th day, headaches learned a rhythm. Behind the eyes and the hinge, along sleep's soft edge, pain became punctuation. He stopped answering the phone. Sometimes it was the line. Sometimes it was the shack pretending to be the line. He couldn't afford to guess wrong. He tried leaving the house. The radio followed. Not truly a radio. The shape of one burned into silence. He heard it tuning the gaps between cars at a stoplight. He said nothing, and it thanked him by making the minute last again. He circled "Do not answer next time" until the paper wore thin. The crater in the page looked like something had been kneeling there for years. The pins moved while he watched. Red to yellow, yellow to blue, thread tightening between them. At each intersection, a knot he didn't tie. He climbed the chair to look from above. The pattern pretended to be simple, a net, a star. But the strings bowed inward, pulling everything toward a point he could not see from the floor. When he stepped down, he realized the map on the wall had centered itself around him. He did not write that down. He didn't have to. The room already knew. Then his voice came closer than ever. Clarity is cruel. Hiss protects you. Words are an invasion. He spoke like a man standing close enough to fog a mirror that wasn't there.
I know the way your chair creaks when you lean left. The dog still won't come past that door. The green tape on your right channel, it's a lie you told yourself to feel safe. That watch you fixed, it only keeps time when it touches your skin.
I wanted to ask what happened the time he answered, but even thinking it felt like breaking the rule. He set the headphones down like flowers on a grave. That night, he slept at the threshold, with the dog pressed to his spine, two halves of one animal keeping each other warm. Not all doors are made of wood. Days stopped running. They dripped. People don't like it when you measure time differently than they do. They think you've insulted their clock. A friend came to check on him, said he looked like a man who's been living inside a whisper. He tried to laugh. The house dimmed when he did. After the friend left, the house waited, like a held breath awaiting a decision. He whispered into the recorder, "It's not the air making the noise, it's using it, like it needs it to move. The quiet spots between the static, they're not empty. Something's in there with us." Names are doors. Say one, and a room appears. Say your own, and you're already inside. That night, the dog would not be quiet. He wasn't warning anyone anymore. He was pleading. Neighbors turned on their kitchen lights and watched their own reflections choose not to speak. The sky went that thin color storms leave behind. The map on the wall settled its threads. The shack felt smaller, like a mouth deciding whether to close. He keyed the mic for the last time.
Delta 2, if someone's got me, copy, please. I'm gonna try and write it out. The dog's outside the door. He won't come in. If you could hear me, please, don't say your name. How? It's... Oh, God. It's in the room.
Some signals fade, and some don't. To hear the rest, you must go to where the static lives. My name is Astral. I am of the static. I carry what slips between, the transmissions you are never meant to hear. If my voice has found you, You were tuned more precisely than you realized. Listen closely before the signal fades.